pull out the antlers, I crack them together real light, really, really light, and, for probably about 30 seconds, and next thing you know, I see this deer come walking in. It was a buck right away, and I see his head's down, so, like, one side of his rack is hidden from the tree, the other side, I can just see 5 points on the side. I'm like, "Alright, this is a deer I'm shooting." And I thought he was probably, like, I don't know, just a typical deer, a typical, like, 10 points, nothing too huge, whatnot. That was my thought process, and, I ended up shooting him, right? And I called my buddy, I'm like, Brad, I just shot one. I just got my first Ohio buck."
Hey, what is up, hunting family? How's everybody doing tonight? We got another good episode of the Tracks and Tackle podcast for you tonight. And as always, I got my brother, Kris, the Doe Commander Bookman from 3B Outdoors. How you doing, Kris?
What's up, man? How are you?
Digging that call sign we've given you.
Yeah. Better than some that we came up with.
Yeah, man. So, appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. And tonight, we're gonna get into it. We got another podcaster on with us. Let me give you a little bit of bio. Today, we are joined by Alex, host of the Buck Down Deer Hunting Podcast. Alex is all about solving whitetail puzzle through real life experiences, success stories, scouting tips, and practical tactics from hunters across the country. His show brings that straightforward, no nonsense approach to deer hunting that we love. And so, whether you're in the woods trying to put a big buck down or you're just grinding through off-season prep, which I think we're all doing right now, Alex is the guy we want to talk to. So Alex Gross, thanks for coming on the show. We're excited to learn a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks again for having me on, both of you. I appreciate it, and I wanted to hear the name Doe Commander, where that came from for Kris as well, as we talked about tonight.
It's pretty simple, dude. I don't sit in a tree very long. I'll shoot the first doe that comes in. I'm pumped about it too. I have a couple wall hangers here, and I'll shoot a nice buck if I see it. But the first doe that comes in, she's getting it.
Yeah, he's not picky.
Yeah, I'm name's Alex Gosso. I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm outside of Pittsburgh, probably like 30 or so minutes. And grew up hunting my whole life and been in the woods with my dad since I was 5. He would take me out with me, so I've kind of been exposed to the opening day of PA rifle ever since, and that's kind of what ingrained hunting into me to where I am today. And yeah, I haven't. I was just thinking about this today. I haven't missed the opening day of rifle since I was a little baby, and I'm just like looking all the years past of holy cow, I've somehow made it out one way or another, even just taking the rifle out, going for a doe and whatnot. So, but yeah, I've grown up hunting family, the traditional Pennsylvania way of going out to the mountains, the couple days before opener, find a good tree to sit under or on, and hope for the best, basically.
Right. Well, Kris and I are all about those like tailgate traditions, and the Pennsylvania is like steeped in tradition when it comes to whitetail hunting and stuff. So like this is a perfect episode for you to come on and us swap some stories.
It's good to always, because like you said, when you host a podcast, you talk to a lot of guys from different states and whatnot. It's always fun to talk to another PA fella as well, because there's something that's tradition. You have that tradition.
Yeah, I love hearing it. I love hearing you guys' stories. So start us off with one, man. Tell us about your earliest traditions and memories from all that.
I could actually tell you my first time going out in the woods, the whole story. from when I
Let's
was a
hear it.
teeny weeny baby. I never told this either. Oh, man, we were back in, I was 5, and, oh my, he got a cabin up north somewhere, I can't remember where, and I was this little kid, I slept in my parents' room on the ground, made like a little fort, right? And, my brother was there, my uncles were there, and I'll never forget, I wanted to go out that morning, and I'm sitting there, they're waking up, getting ready. They didn't wake me up, I was still sleeping, I was fake sleeping, waiting to be woken up, and, they never woke me up to take me out, and I remember bawling and crying that whole morning to my mom, and, my dad ended up coming back in, grabbing me, and he took me out, and that was my first time hunting. So that's where it all started right there.
You wanted to go even before you were invited,
Yeah, well, they probably told me, "Oh, you'll be out with us," and,
right?
they never got me, but I went out that afternoon, and like I said, never
I
turned
rem
back.
I remember, being young, my dad, before we had any, like, leased ground or, hunting property of our own or anything like that upstate, my dad, one of his good friends, when I was young, he had some land that they hunted. I don't even know where it was. I was too young, but I remember just getting to go and hanging out at camp while all the men went out and the
Uh-huh.
ladies too, right? And they went out and they hunted, and I had to stay back at the house, at the cabin, but I didn't care just because I was allowed to come along. I don't even know how old I was, but that story reminded me of that because it was just cool to be part of what was going on. You knew
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
my older brother and my dad and my dad's friend and his family, and it was just an awesome time.
Yeah, look at how times have changed, we all my whole family's, we've grown up. I have one older brother, but he's out of state now, so the family tradition has kinda died off a little bit, but, we just had a newborn, so we're gonna be kinda slowly integrating it back into
Bringing
'cause
it back. Yeah.
it's you know how grandparents are, they wanna be all around their grandkids, so, "Hey, we're going to the mountains, come on up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
watch the grandkid." And, yeah, but that's my very first deer hunting memory, actually. Uh, can't believe I just thought about that right now, so that was pretty good.
I, re- I, rem- I remember being a kid and, one of the differences in me and where I grew up is like my family, they just deer hunted. Maybe a little bit of rabbit here and there, but there wasn't turkeys where I was a kid, where we grew up. I've said that a bunch, right? That we just fished some streams and some local farm ponds, but they just deer hunted, man. And I remember like going as a kid and you'd lay your stuff out the night before and everybody's getting excited. But even like when I wasn't that into it, I just went because everybody else did. My brothers did, and my dad did, and my grandfather did. So I'm like, okay, I'm just doing it because these dudes are doing it. It wasn't
Yeah,
until later that I really got into it. And I had killed deer even. You know, it's funny how just that longing to be connected with it, it
it's
drives
cool
us and
how
brings us together, you know?
it's cool how the traditions kinda keep the same as well. Because like, we would always my family, like, they would always be up so early, way too early. It was just, like, waking up out of excitement, right? Like, 3:30 in the morning, 3 AM, they're up cooking venison sausage and breakfast before you go out, and every, if I have a doe tag, I'll just go out locally around me on opening day at rifle. It's a muzzle loader where I'm at in the WMU. But, I still wake up early, extra early, and, cook up venison and just go out for a few hours just to enjoy the morning. So it's, now that I'm a dad, I'm excited to carry that tradition on to
Oh, dude,
my kid.
Yeah, I'm
it
gonna pass it
changes
on.
so much, man, and it's just the coolest thing, and these guys that listen to our podcast will probably get tired of me talking about, but just the last couple of years of I have 2 teenage sons that are, like, into it now, and just watching them come up and, kinda go on their own. It's the coolest thing, man. It's the coolest
Yeah.
thing.
We were out I took my kid out for the first time scouting, what was that, like, 2 weeks ago, and I was just jokingly saying to my wife, I'm like, "We're scouting for his deer when he's ready to hunt. It'll be a 12-year-old by the time."
Yeah, yeah.
We're getting him ready.
So I got a question. What you were saying, Alex, made me think, because you said about, muzzle loader and your wild management unit. So are you a muzzle loader guy versus are you a bow hunter?
Oh, no, I'm bow hunter, but, like, if I tag out on a buck because it's a 1 buck state,
Right?
I'll just go out for a doe because we
Yeah.
can go And the WMU I'm at, once you hit 6 doe, you can basically you can buy more, like, you can hold, like, I think 5 or 6 doe tags at once. As soon as if I have more hunting time and more of a room
If
in
you
the
can do
creek.
it, you're going to do it, right?
Yeah, and then eventually it's like you're starting to donate it off and you're just going out to hunt, but yeah, no, I'll take the bow out all season, like, September through whatever, middle of November, and then just take the muzzle loader out for opening day rifle and then late season.
So what do you think about like the muzzle loader overlap with an archery season? Because I know I have opinions on it because I'm not a muzzle loader guy. But
Yeah, so it's doe only, the overlap part, like the first part of the season. I don't really mind it. What gets me is the pheasant hunters.
right,
And I've had instances where like I've had pheasant hunters shoot up right by me, and that's probably why I'm a little biased about them. But that's what kind of, I guess, not ruins the hunt, but that I'm more concerned of getting. You got BBs flying around the area, and obviously you don't want to get hit, but haven't yet. So
yeah, for me it's like I want to hunt. I hunt archery because there's less guys in the woods. I hunt
yeah,
archery because it's not as cold. I hunt archery because it's more of a chess game. In rifle season, it's deer just being pushed around. You know, but once they start to hear it in PA, anywhere I've hunted in PA, and I'm sure it's the same in Maryland and other surrounding states, once the guns start to bark, the deer know what season it is. They know what time it is, year it is. They know where protected lands are. Like they just all patterns shift. And so whenever the guns start going off in archery season, I'm like the grumpy old man at that point. I'm like, all right,
yeah,
there went my
yeah.
archery.
It's I used to hunt in a spot a few years ago where there was a gun range, and so there were guns constantly going off, and I had the
That's actually
same.
helps probably.
Yeah, I had the same feeling. I'm like, I wonder like what these deer think about this. And then I'm like, well, it's every day. These deer are probably so used to it. They don't know when
Mhm.
these guns are shooting to shoot at them. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's a good point too. And the thing too is like, I don't think guys are walking. If you go deep in the woods, I don't think guys who are taking their muzzle loader out are going to be walking 3 miles for a doe just to drag it all the way out. You know what I mean?
You're right about that.
So, like, you can kinda once that opens up, you can try to be a little bit more strategic, right?
Right on. Well, tell me a little bit about your show, man. The podcast, your style is very much similar to us. Like we're big whitetail guys.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, honestly, it's funny how it started. So I started the page just as I wanted to 2 reasons. I wanted to learn and I wanted to, like, teach other people because at that same time, my one buddy was just starting to get into hunting, and I was, like, really teaching him a lot of things, and I was enjoying it. So I'm like he's like, "You should start a page." I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I could. I don't know everything about it, but I'll give it a shot." And then, I did the page for a couple years. My one buddy's like, we started talking about doing a podcast, and I was like, "Yeah, that'd be a great idea." So he's like, "Let's get everything and we'll get started." So I got the podcast equipment and, we talked about what we're gonna talk about, what it's gonna be like, and everything. And then, we're ready to do it. He's like, "Hold on, like, you start the first few episodes and I'll join in. I just got family stuff going on." So I did like 4 or 5 episodes by myself, and I'm like, "Dude, are you joining? Like, we doing this as partners or what?" And, he never did. I still joke with him. He's still one of my best buddies. I call him my co-host, who's on probably once every year. But, after the first 5 episodes, I started, like, seeing people listening, I'm like, "Heck, like, I'm not just gonna stop 5 episodes in, I'll just keep going," and I just became comfortable with it, and just like you guys, I'm sure, like, you kinda develop a routine over time and just kinda part of your day-to-day, weekly agenda, things to get done, so but,
Yeah.
man, I enjoy it, I learn so much, like, I was probably here, but, like, after speaking with all these people, man, I've just been humbled of how, smart some of these guys are and how crazy they are with deer hunting. I mean, you talk to some people and we all try to study the deer and study the animal, but things that just they can't describe it because it's just ingrained in them, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They
second nature.
yeah, it's second nature to them, and it's cool because it's just cool to learn from, experienced guys and just different opinions and different styles. But
Yeah, that's
I do like to keep it, to answer your question as well, I do like to try to keep it, a lot of tactic related, and I'm just all whitetail mostly. I've tried to get in the turkey for the past few years. I just can't do it. I don't know why. I don't have the bug, I guess. I'm sure if someone takes me out, I would probably get the bug a little bit more. But, yeah, it's mostly just whitetail, and maybe we'll get some fishing. I haven't had a fishing episode yet, but now that you brought up trout fishing, maybe that kinda gave me an idea because I used to trout fish all the time as well. But, yeah, if you're
That's
looking for
another
a deep.
tradition here for us, family
Yeah,
tradition is the PA opener, which is different, and, Chris, we invited him to come along, but, opener was on Easter weekend this year.
yeah.
yeah.
That's right, that is another big tradition. This is the same ordeal. We would take the little what are those stoves called, and cook little sausages for
Yep.
breakfast, catch some fish, man, those are the
I don't
days
know. We
for,
might have to give you the call sign of like the sausage man or something.
sausage, man.
Yeah.
I kinda I don't know if I like that or not, but hey,
We'll
let's go
play
with
with
it,
it,
man.
okay? That's why I had to come
Well,
up with some different ones. I had some questionable nicknames from my guys here, but no, I
yeah, we'll
mean,
have to workshop it a bit.
one of the best parts about, Ron and I talking to these people is not only just meeting people. I love asking people, like you said, Alex. Like, I love hearing their opinions, their takes on stuff. Even if it's something that I like know, I love hearing how someone else would do it or what do they think or
Yep,
how they approach it.
yeah,
Or, if our listeners know I'm big into tradition. What has your family done? How have you done this?
yeah,
We got into a minor like civil war of some guys in our group about deer drives,
yeah,
because these guys in the eastern part of Maryland where it's real flat, you're getting out close to the shore and the ocean and stuff. It's just big flat farmland. So, and a lot of public land. So these guys have scouted all year and they hate when these guys come through with deer drives. Where that's even where I grew up in Maryland, that was a thing. We did that rolling hills. It's probably similar to where you guys hunt, a
oh
little
yeah,
bit probably
there's
more
lots of drives.
incline. But no, I mean these guys were like deer drive. It was like offensive to them. Like that was like a dirty
Uh-huh.
word,
Yeah,
So
yeah, and, like, I used to, like with baiting, for example, people used to like, I used to have always think baiting was kinda like cheating in a sense, but, after talking and meeting a lot of guys where baiting is legal in states, just through the podcast and meeting people, I've learned it's not like that at all. Like, you don't just put a corn pile out and deer just
yeah,
come storming to it.
yeah,
There's actually strategy to it, and, like, those are the type of other humbling things that you learn that I've learned just with the podcast and the
yeah.
different states and how different things apply, but
So like in Maryland, you can bait, right? And I got kids again that are hunting, so I set up a nice blind for them on the edge of some fields, and I put some corn out and some salt licks out on one of their trails, get them to stop. I mean, I think that pile was probably still there until a couple weeks ago. They weren't touching it. They were finding other stuff, or it was
really?
a travel thing. So it's not a gimme. Does it help?
Yep.
Yes. Is it going to help you observe some stuff? Yes. Same thing. I have a trail cam up just for the winter. I put it over a salt lick and a pile of corn, and since January, I may have gotten 4 or 5 pictures of deer at it. I mean,
Man.
it's not always a gimme. You know.
Yeah. And, back to, like, just tradition and growing up hunting, like what we were talking about before is my dad always the way we hunted, I would always say, like, "Let's go ask if we could hunt this person's property." Like, we'd be driving around, like, "Let's go ask this guy," or we had a guy who had all this land, I'd say, "Let's go see if we can hunt his property, there's probably big bucks there." And but he always just said, "We have land, and it's the public there's thousands and thousands of acres we can go hunt." And we never really scouted, but he would always point out things like buck rubs. I don't even think he ever called out a scrape. He probably didn't know what a scrape was, but, he would always point out buck rubs and, how deer can smell and see. But we would always sit right underneath of a tree. Like, I didn't climb my first tree stand until I was probably, like, 22, 23 years old, and I look back and I'm like, "That's probably, like" I was exposed to he exposed me to that stuff on purpose, I like to think, of just, like, learning how to hunt from the ground in pressured woods. I look back and I'm like, I'm glad that I was taught that way. Um, And I don't know, I think it just kind of made me love it even more of sitting, putting my having a gun in my hand as a 15-year-old laying back in the woods on a tree and just enjoying the sunrise and nature.
Yeah, I do a lot of like, I mean, obviously archery. I'm in a tree, but when it comes to rifle season, I do a lot of hunting on the ground because the deer patterns change, movement change, a lot more guys in the woods. And so like like you, I'll go out and I'll find a good spot, where I can sit down. I
Yeah.
can just lean back against a tree, get comfortable for a long sit, that sort of thing.
Mm.
And
Yep.
it is cool. It is really cool to even just listen to you guys talk about like the different styles of hunting, like putting out bait versus non-bait, hunting in the ground versus hunting from a stand. Like there's so many different ways that you can approach a hunt. And there's so many different people that are what do I say? You got resident experts and everything, but you got people like this is my hill. I'm gonna plant my flag. I'm gonna die on this hill. You
Oh, yeah.
know, I'm a saddle hunter or I'm a, mobile stand guy or, a compound guy, crossbow guy. Like we don't care. And we say that all the time. We just like if as long as you're out, as long as you're enjoying, like you said, the sunrise, you're enjoying nature, you're taking it all in. Um, man, that's what it's about for us. We say,
Yeah.
just hunt your hunt however you want to do it.
Yeah. I think, that's the part that a lot that gets forgotten a lot is, you know, especially, like, during the off season, like you said, like, people talk about saddles or their hunting styles, and they put a
Hmm.
flag down and say, "This is the way I do it," and blah, blah, blah. But then, like, come the season when everybody's out in the woods, they're all experiencing those moments of, sitting in the dark watching the sunrise, and then it's like, "Oh, this that's what it's all about," right? Like, that's to
Yeah.
me, that's what I love not waking up, but sitting in the woods and looking out of my tree where you can't see nothing and then hearing the woods wake up and enjoying that stuff.
Yeah.
That's my, that's what gets me going.
I mean, if you backtrack, I mean, you said it a couple times I hear from your dad, and now you have a kid. Those little memories and stuff, and those little things that you learned and did. I mean, at the time, your dad was showing you something probably, but it was kind of insignificant to him, but it stood out to you, right? And it's going to stand out to your kid as you take him out, man. And I remember I was real little, 5 or 6 years old, and my dad was like, "Let's take a hike. We're going to pack a lunch. We're going to go look for deer rubs." And man, I felt like we walked for probably 10 miles. In reality, we might have walked like a half a mile or a quarter mile, but he had a bunch of, I have a little brother that's on the show. He's 3 years younger than me. And my dad at the time had a bunch of, they would tan the deer hides. And, cowboys and Indians when you're kids. So me and my brother put a couple of these like ponchos on and we're like hiking in the woods with our dad, coonskin hat.
Yeah.
And that
That's
stood
the
out to
best.
me like so much. And again,
That
we probably only walked, it probably was a quarter mile through the woods, sat down and had some little snacks and little PB&Js that my mom packed, but like those little moments of like, you know, just being with dad, and then I'm out here doing it, man. And it's going to stand out, man. And I'm a big proponent for that with kids. You'll see that as your kid gets older, man. And Ron sees it with his nephew and his family and stuff like that. It's just the coolest, man. It's the coolest thing.
That's what I'm excited about the most too, moving forward is obviously he's not even a year old. He can't, really comprehend hunting yet, but like bringing him out in the woods scouting the
Yeah.
other day was awesome. I mean, he was just it's funny. There's a picture. I set up a camera and I'm like sitting there with my phone. I have like a belly thing on, right? He's sitting on my belly looking out. He's just like passed out sleeping
Yeah.
and like I got my glasses on. You ever seen The Hangover when
Yeah. Yeah.
what this it looks just like that. It's so funny, but, like, even that, like, I'm so glad I got a picture of that on my cell cam because I'll have that now for the rest of my life to show him whenever he's older. Of
Yeah.
like, "Hey,
That's
this
the
is
cool.
you at a month and a half."
We just, my oldest boy just turned 16 and we had a party for him. And I'm a big picture guy. And we printed out pictures. It was a hunting theme party of all this stuff. And he was probably 2 years old and he went out with my little brother. They're just walking. It was the last day of Maryland rifle season. They're just walking and through the CRP grass. That's probably I'm not a guy that scores, but it's probably 130, 140 inch, just perfect round. 8 point just steps out and he shoots it with my son right there. And they got a picture of him in the deer antlers. And
That's
to this
awesome.
day, they cleaned it out in the stream. And my son goes, "Can we eat it now?" And my brother's like, "It's not even, we're still here, you know." But it's that started it, man. And just the sights, the smells, and just getting them out there. You're on the right
Yeah.
track, bro. You're doing the right
Yep.
thing.
And it's not like, like we're talking about these stories too of getting the kids out, and they're younger, and it's like not necessarily that we're hunting and like teaching, it's more so just getting them exposed to the outdoors, you know,
You know,
of walking in
I
the
say it
woods or
I say it all the time on here. Little things my kids talk about to this day, little things that I think are insignificant. I mean, going to get breakfast, going to Sheets and let them Turkey Hill, whatever, Wawa, getting just snacks. Ron and I tell a story. Ron was with me one day. I took my girls out and it was a slow day. We were going to try to shoot some. We were dove hunting. Is that what we were trying to do,
Yeah,
Ron?
we went out dove hunting, and the girls came along.
And they had some snacks and I was like, "Sorry girls, that was kind of lame." They're like, "What? That was awesome." And watching the sun
that's
come
so
up and eating giant Kit Kat bars in the cornfield,
yeah,
that's what it's
that's so
about.
true. Because I remember those same days too with my dad,
Yeah.
stopping and getting the Slim Jims, that's what we had.
Yeah, we have different expectations, you know what I mean? And so, like, even the small things that we do that are seemingly insignificant might mean a lot to that next person. And Alex, I like what you were saying earlier about how how you got started with wanting to learn and wanting to teach. Right? How you're gonna educate other people too, because there's a why behind everything. Um, and part of the cool thing about podcasting and meeting people like you and all the other different people we get to interview is, everybody's got that different approach. They everybody carries something. And so we can gain little nuggets of treasure from each person that we meet. And you know, so even new hunters, something that might be insignificant. I remember, I had a young guy, he was in his 20s, just, maybe late teens, hunting with me and stuff, and just something as simple as, like, you don't slam the truck door when you get out of the truck. Like,
Mhm.
nobody ever told him, so
Yeah.
he just gets out of the truck and slams it, and you're like, "Alright, now, next time, we're gonna shut the door quietly."
Yeah.
And so, like, it's the small insignificant things to us, that's how you make better woodsmen. That's how you make, better, apex predators,
Yeah.
and we all started somewhere,
I
Dragging your
still
feet.
think about
right?
my dad telling us how to walk in the woods. Pick your feet up. Don't drag your feet, and even when you go to the Walmart or whatever, you can hear someone dragging their feet through the thing and you're like, "Oh, come on." But
I don't know how
yeah,
my
that's where it
dad dealt with
starts.
that, because I have stories. I remember we're sitting on a ridge, and there was like it was like a steep ridge, a creek at the bottom, and a steep ridge going right back up, and I remember, like, crawling through the bushes, like, trying to, like, do whatever. I was just a kid, I was probably 7, and how he dealt, he's trying to hunt, and
A
I'm
lot of
over there
patience.
just crawling around, just having fun, but, I mean, looking back, he probably didn't probably like, "Yeah, I'm trying to hunt," but he probably loved that because he saw I'm enjoying the outdoors. So
Yeah.
those are things too that's like, I can't wait to see how it all just goes down with having a kid now, and like you said, Chris, you've been through it, and Ron, I'm sure you have as well, of watching them grow, like those little things that they do that go a long way to, make you passionate for the outdoors.
Yeah.
Talking about stories, with your dads, and you were just saying about the patience that your dad might have had made me think of a story because one of the things, and we'll get to that probably, Chris likes to ask, like, "What do you got in your bag?" What do you always take with you hunting? Like, everybody's got maybe something that's a go-to. I always have a bandana. All right. Usually I'm wearing a bandana around my neck. It just keeps my neck from freezing. But I've been doing this since I was 12, like since I was young, and at that point I remember we were hunting, we were in Potter County, and my dad and I, it was middle of the day and we were just relocating, right? And we were on this old logging road. and I set my gun down against the tree. I think I had to go to the bathroom, right? So I had to relieve myself, and I set my gun against the tree, and, when I was done, I was like fixing my do-rag, so my dad's like, "You got your do-rag on," I was fixing my handkerchief, and it was a beautiful, probably the biggest deer I've ever seen in my life at that point. He comes trotting up through the woods, and my gun's leaning against a tree, and I'm tying this handkerchief around my neck. And, till it's a lesson learned for me, but, like, how frustrating must that have been for my dad? Because to this day, he's like, "Quit messing with your do-rag. You don't need that thing." So,
Yeah.
anyway, it just reminded me of that story when you're talking about, crawling around as a kid, and, you gotta have patience with even new hunters, even if it's not children. New hunters, they just don't know what we know, but, as long as they're out there and they're enjoying it, I think
Yeah.
that's the key,
Yeah.
right?
My one buddy, he's not new in hunting, he's hunted his actually his whole life, but he's never, like, taken it super serious. But every fall, he'll text me to go hunting, and, man, I told him, like, "I'll get you on my deer that I'm chasing, and that'll make," and he did, he actually killed the one this year, and I was so stoked and so happy because it was his biggest buck to date, like, and, like, I just the feeling of helping him achieve a goal of killing a deer that was his biggest on his wall just felt really good.
That's the best.
No doubt.
We talk about it all the time on here, the job that I have, I train and teach people. And the first thing I tell them is like, you are a reflection of me. Like I'm a reflection of the people that taught me. And it's the same in hunting. I get pumped for people, my kids or guys that I've gotten into duck hunting when they tell me, hey, we set up where you told us and we got a bunch of geese. That's awesome. That's a win for me. So it's the same thing, dude. I really resonate with that feeling. That's really cool. Tell us, hit us with an awesome story, man. Like funny,
But yeah,
just hit us with a
um
cool story, man.
let's hear about I got 2 stories I'll tell you. We've
Okay.
been real sentimental, right? I'm gonna do one with the dad real quick because it's funny,
Right
and then
on.
we'll get to my one with my buddy, but, so my dad always walks around with his limp on his knees, right? Like, his knees he walks around like he's super old, he's really not. His knees are just bad, and it was, like, probably, like, 2019 or whatnot. It was a maybe 18 because I could still hunt in my parents' backyard, but at that time, first archery buck with a compound bow. I shot one, and I texted him, "Hey, I got one." And we have this real steep bluff coming down right to this creek, and this guy, he'll, like, limp up the stairs, hold both railings. Well, he comes running down this steep hill like he has no knee problems at all, you would think. Comes
Amazing.
running through the creek. I mean, he came flying down, like, I mean, this wasn't like a small hill, I mean, this thing was steep. He came flying down, just hopped right in the creek and jumped right over the bank and came down. I'll never forget that memory because he's just always complaining about his knees hurting, and his knees did not hurt that day for sure.
Excitement for
But
one another, overcomes a lot of
yeah,
that, physical
but,
detriments we have.
I'd say, so back in Ohio, what, 3 years ago now, this one right here, I shot him in Ohio with my buddy, actually. His name is Brad Cox, and, it was fun. So I drove to his house in Ohio that morning, and we're on our way to the place to hunt. He's like, "I got 3 places to hunt. Which place do you wanna go to?" I'm like, "I have no idea. I have never been here. I have no idea where we're going." He said, "Pick a number 1 through 3." So I said 3. I'm like, "Alright." He said, "We're going here." So I'm like, "Can I see a map?" Because he didn't show me any maps or nothing the night before. So I was just completely going in blind, like, just going for fun, right? Because 'Cause I'm going with my buddy. So I pull up a map real quick on the drive there. I'm like, "Okay, I think we found a spot to go to." And, sitting there, it's like 9 o'clock, and I rattle the antlers. Or let me back up, it's like 7 o'clock. It was November 2nd, I think, or November 3rd. Did a couple grunts, whatnot in the morning, nothing was showing up. And the previous night, some guy messaged me on Instagram and said, "The deer in Ohio have been reacting to antlers a lot this year, I feel like." So I'm like, "Okay." Well, I made a mental note. I'm saying at 8:55 tomorrow, if I don't have a deer down or anything, I'm gonna pull out the antlers, give it a nice rattle. I still don't think I ever messaged this guy and told him the story. I really want to though. Uh, so I thought 8:55 that morning. I pull out the antlers, I crack them together real light, really, really light, and, for probably about 30 seconds, and next thing you know, I see this deer come walking in, and it was a big body deer. I knew it was a buck right away just the way it was walking, and, anyways, he comes up, and I see his head's down, so, like, one side of his rack is hidden from the tree, the other side, I can just see 5 points on the side. I'm like, "Alright, this is a deer I'm shooting," and I thought he was probably, like, I don't know, just a typical deer, a typical, like, 10 points, nothing too huge, whatnot. That was my thought process, and, I ended up shooting him, right? And I call my buddy, I'm like, Brad, I just shot one, like, I just got my first Ohio buck, let's go. I don't know if it's big." He's like, "Is it big?" I'm like, I don't think so, I'm not really sure, but I saw 5 antlers on one side." So, I meet him at the car, we go pack up, we come walking down the hill, and we see blood, we start tracking him, and I did see him wobble and fall, but, like, I kinda got excited and looked away, like, I cheered whenever I saw that happen. So I didn't really actually see him technically fall, and there's very little blood we're starting to find. I'm like, I saw him wobble, and we only tracked him 15 yards at this point, just very little specks of blood, and then his reaction was the best thing ever, and I'll have to send you guys the video, but he just flips out. I didn't even see the deer, but he just starts going crazy. He's like, "What did you do? What do you mean it's not a big deer, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Where is it?" And then I walked up to it, and it was just I never thought I'd shoot a deer. Like, I'm just used to, 100 and in Pennsylvania, you see a 120-inch deer, and that's a beautiful deer, 130-inch. But man, this deer was way bigger than that, and I'll just never forget, like, holy cow, like, that was awesome. This is the coolest feeling ever, and, like, there's a video of him he takes, and I, like, dropped to my knees, like, going like this, and I don't even remember doing that because I was just so excited, and it was so, my energy was just so high, and just celebrating that moment with him because that was our first time hunting together. He was obviously in another tree, but we were just, hunting together, um, just celebrating that moment together with him and his reaction and just how happy he was for me in his hometown for coming and killing a deer was just something I'll never forget, and that's, like, the best part about hunting too is those memories and supporting each other and,
Mhm.
like, cheering each other on and being there for each other. That was just I'll live with that memory till the day I die because, biggest buck I've killed in Ohio, anywhere, and it was with my buddy who also loves the same passion I do. So it was it
Yes.
was it was cool. And
Sharon,
sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say sharing those moments with friends and family and that sort of thing, like, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
We absolutely you can go out and you can do that on your own, but it's not the same. It's
Mhm.
not the same when you have, your friend there get excited for you or, the track with somebody else and the drag back, to
Yeah.
the truck,
Yep.
that's what those were those memories that last a
Mhm.
lifetime.
Yep, and it's always the drag, and it's always those moments that are the best. It's sharing them with whether it's a phone call or you're with
Mhm.
your buddies making a heck of a drag out. Those are the, uh
Who's
those are the
uh
best.
who's the first person you call? Text or call?
It's always my dad, my mom, and then I'll call my wife, and then I'll call Brad, my buddy. So we go down the list, but I, uh I used to always text my parents "buck down," like,
Mhm.
around kill a deer. I just say "buck down." And that's kinda where this name originated, Buck Down, where that came from is I just say "buck down" to my parents when I shot one, and
Love it.
heck, that's what we're rolling with. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Down, the
so
deer
it's
hunting podcast.
yeah, text to my dad, phone call to my wife and Brad. So, but, I gotta sorry, we had another story, what was that, last year, and, I'm a PA guy, I ain't no Western guy, I've not seen a lot of cougars, not seen a lot of bobcats, but I'm hunting in Ohio last year, 2 years ago, and there's this big rock face right in front of me, and it's probably like 50 feet high. And I was sitting there, just it was an all day sit. It was like 11 in the morning, and I see something on this rock. I'm like, holy cow, it's a cat. And my first instinct, like I'm a type of guy who I kind of assume the worst just to if I hear the better. I feel a little bit better, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see a mountain lion on this rock. That's my mind. I'm like, holy cow! I could have sworn to you I saw a long tail on this rock. I'm like, that's a freaking cat. That's a mountain lion. Oh my god. 2 weeks before that, my buddy was telling me how apparently there was mountain lion being seen in Ohio. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. And so I'm like, there's a mountain lion right in front of me. And I'm pulling out my camera to try filming it because I left it in my bag. And it turns its head real slowly and it's just staring at me. And it's like probably 40 yards away. And it was just staring at me and staring at me. I'm like, "Holy crap, dude, I see the long tail." There wasn't a long tail, just so your audience knows. And, anyway, it was like, turned its full body towards me and started, like, put its paws up like this, like it was kinda creeping on the rock towards me. So, it ended up being a bobcat, but it was a big one, and I was just it was just one of those things, man, where the adrenaline kicked in, and I thought for sure I saw a long tail on that thing.
I went
It was
I'm
out.
gonna
cool.
have to.
It was a cool
I'm,
experience.
I'm gonna send you a clip of 2 or 3 years ago. I had I'd taken my buck. I had doe tags, and I was in my tree stand, and so I mean, I was just hanging.
Mhm.
I was up, probably hunting with family or whatever. I was just hanging in the woods, but I had taken my deer, but I had tags to burn, and I had a bobcat come in, like a big bobcat come into me, and it just milled around for like I got like 6 minutes of cell phone footage of this
Oh,
thing,
good.
and it got pretty close. It was cool. It was an awesome experience. I'll dig that out and shoot that over to you so you can see it, because
Alright.
seeing them in wild, man, it is cool.
Yeah.
Their eyes are crazy, that's the one thing I noticed 'cause it wasn't too far away, but it's cool seeing them 'cause you don't see cats like that a lot, obviously, so you were
They're
you a little
stealthy.
intim were you feeling a little intimidated at all?
No, I mean, I was feeling pretty confident. I mean, I was killing deer. I was feeling like,
Yeah,
if we had to figure out who the apex predator was,
or
I would have let
yeah.
him have it.
Well,
But
Hey, can you show 'em who's in town?
yeah, but I mean, it was cool because it had no clue I was in the tree.
Yeah, that's
You know what
cool.
I mean? So like, I felt like I had a strategic advantage on this cat. Like,
Yeah.
it was coming in probably because there was a gut pile somewhere, in the
yeah.
vicinity of my tree, and
I'll I'll
it was
uh
just cool.
I'll tell you guys two funny stories. Same pretty much time frame. I went out west, my brother and my dad and both my brothers, my dad and I went out to Missouri deer hunting about 10 years ago and never been there, man. I mean, we drove there and drove straight there. We got there at nighttime, slept, and my dad had hunted there a bunch of times and my older brother was out there, so they literally said, "Okay, here's where you're going to go." They took us to the blind I was going to sit at, almost like the story you told. You're going to sit by this tree. You're going to sit here. Never seen it, man. So I'm sitting there and no clue what this landscape looks like. And this is before Onyx. I mean, I could have looked at Google Maps. I didn't really even know where we were going. So I'm
Yeah.
sitting there and two things happen, okay? First off, I am 6'4", 300 pounds. I'm tattooed. I'm not scared of much, man. And these coyotes start howling, and it's like a pack of them. And I had a pistol with me and a rifle, and I'm up against this tree with my 45, like, all right, come on. So then,
You're
that
ready
kind
to
of went
go.
away. Yeah, that kind of went away. And then all you hear about, the deer in Missouri are huge, man, right? I'm sitting there, the sun's coming up. I see this little rolling ridge. Where I was, we went through all the flat stuff. So where I was, it looked very similar. If somebody would have woken me up after driving, it probably looks where you live or where Ron lived, rolling hills, a lot of cedar trees, hardwoods. It didn't look different from where we live. So I'm in this little gully. I'm up against this tree. I see a fence line in the woods a little bit, about 100 yards away. And there's a line of like cedar and fir trees where I can just see the bottom of the ground a little bit. And I see some movement. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And I see some stuff walking. And I'm like, holy cow. The deer here are humongous. And I'm getting around, like, look at the size of this deer coming. All I can see is his legs. No, it was a cow. It was a steer pasture just
Are
walking
you
through the woods.
serious?
That's all I saw. And I was like, are you kidding me right now? And it's that time of
Oh my
day where
god.
there's no excuse. It doesn't make you sound like an idiot. But it's like
Yeah.
that time of day where you're like, okay, oh my gosh, look at the size of this thing. And it was a cow. Yeah.
That's why I call all my deer Angus.
Yeah.
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 The
So
thing's the record deer walking through the woods right now making all this noise.
yeah,
It's
dude,
like, "Hey, it's actually a cow."
yeah,
Jeez.
Deerzilla,
That's
right?
funny. That
Uh,
is funny.
so Ron
I
kind of mentioned earlier, dude, what's something that you carry with you? You got a good luck charm, and you're a gear guy, tactic guy, all that stuff. Favorite snack? Hit us with some stuff you carry with you, bro.
I, one thing I carry like a hunter's prayer devotional. I started carrying that last year or 2 years ago, and I'm always carrying what is something? I'm looking at my pack right now. That's the one thing that's always in there. Are you talking about like something that's like a good luck charm?
Yeah, if you have something
Anything.
like that.
We all got something.
I mean, I guess that's kind of it. I'm trying to think, what the heck do I put in there? There's gotta be I put socks. I mean, if you wanna consider that a good pair or a good luck charm, I've always have socks in my pack.
Okay.
On
Eh,
dry feet.
that's just
What's
what
your
there's
favorite?
always I'm guarantee you the socks are still in my bag from opening day this year or from whenever I
That's where.
replaced them.
So my hunting bags or like my travel backpack. If I can't find underwear or socks, that's like okay. I got a pair in here somewhere, right?
Emergency
Socks are
pair.
in there. That's I gotta find another good luck charm now that we bring this up. Like, I need a good luck charm, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I guess we can say the socks kind of are, because I mean, maybe, but,
What's your favorite snack? The stand snack, blind snack? Give me with something.
it's beef jerky, Slim Jims.
Okay.
It's strictly, Slim Jims, and then we're gonna get the Slim Jim with the cheese on the side, you know, you can go and
Right.
you join it.
Okay.
Those are good during hunting season after an all-day sit. Those are nice. Maybe, some, that's pretty much it. I'm a big beef jerky guy. I'm packing
Okay.
that and water and, maybe a
Okay.
protein bar if I can. They got these Reese's protein stuff Reese's, those are good.
So
That's what
we always make our own jerky, right? And so I'm usually till late season. I mean, even early season if we plan appropriately, right? I got like a Ziploc bag of a jerky on me when I go out into
all
the stand,
yeah.
right? And I got this vest that I wear when I layer up on those cold days where I really don't need a jacket, but I got a nice vest.
Mhm.
And
I love
man,
chocolate.
I had that a bag of like good smelling teriyaki jerky in that a couple of years ago, hunting archery. And I clean it out and stuff, but when it goes in the laundry pile when I come home from camp or whatever. Well, my dog was a puppy, man, and my dog just shredded the inside of like that pocket. I still wear the vest because the vest is fine, but the pocket's got holes in it now
Yeah,
because the
I
dog just like destroyed the inside pockets because it smelled like teriyaki.
you
That's
So
can't
funny.
leave the beef jerky sitting out.
no,
Someone
Yeah.
will get to it. Hey, but hey, there you go. You got a charm there with that pocket, your
Yeah.
dog, you
yeah,
know?
We
there's anything
we
for a story.
I mean, beef
we went
jerky in
out
the wood
to. Go ahead, buddy.
beef jerky in the woods is I don't know, it just comes in clutch, I feel like, for me. That's just,
Yeah.
like, what I crave when I'm sitting in the trees, like, I can go for my Slim Jim now, right? You
We
pack
went
3 of
out.
'em, 9 o'clock.
We were goose hunting a couple years ago. We had geese working. We're on the blind, and of course, somebody brings a big bag. Like you guys were talking about deer jerky, deer bologna, whatever, like that. And these geese are working in, and this dude's calling, and we're kind of head down or whatever. And all of a sudden, he starts making the weirdest noises on his call, like a little kid. Like you gave probably your kid, at 1 or 2 years old, this call. And we're like, what the heck? Well, he's looking up trying to call, and he's trying to get the dog out of the bag of bologna. And we're just, I
Yeah.
mean, just losing it laughing, dude. Like, they're working in, and that just stands out. So, hey, as we start to wrap up, dude, tell us about the podcast, where to find you online.
Yeah, you can, I'm on Instagram, you can go to it's Buckdown, I think it's underscore Buckdown underscore, and really I just kinda post, I'm starting to post a little bit more scouting videos on there, like, just on the story, but you can find episodes on there, and, yeah, it's on Spotify, iTunes, I think it's on anything, the podcast, so it's just Buckdown Deer Hunting Podcast. We're in the off season now, so, we're not really talking about much postseason anymore, we probably will here and there, but just trying to switch it up, see what the listeners wanna hear. Like I said, turkey season's right around the corner, so I know that's hot. Maybe we'll try to have some turkey hunting episodes on. And then my personal account, Alex Grosso, that's on Instagram. You'll see my dog, my wife, and my son on that account. That's pretty much it. And deer hunting. So, and I'm rarely on there. So if I post something, it's important on that account.
Well, hit us with your best off-season tip.
Oh man, I'd say just spend time in the woods. You know,
Can't beat that.
become familiar with the land, the terrain, maybe the deer you're hunting. Try to learn as much as you can and ask yourself why. You know, why are the deer doing this? And you can go down you can come up with a million different scenarios. Just keep asking yourself why and learning the deer and learning the land and how they're using it. I just think time spent in the woods is the best thing for you because that's when you learn and you start to apply the things you read and you hear on podcasts and whatnot. So I'd say that's what I would say.
I dig it.
Put the time in, get out there. It is the off season right now, but you know, I just took the day off work and I spent the whole afternoon out at the stream, out in the woods by myself, just enjoying it, taking it in, enjoying the sunshine. So even though it's the off season for hunting, get outdoors. You know, it's what we always like to say. Nature is our playground. Appreciate you for being on the show with us, Alex. Check him out. It is the Buck Down Deer Hunting Podcast. Alex Grosso. Appreciate you coming on with us. To the hunting family out there, if you're still with us, hit a like, drop a comment, give us a subscribe, share with a friend. Helps us with the algorithm. Appreciate you hanging with us. And like we say, get outdoors. Nature is our playground, and stay wild.